The Amish have long mastered the art of living simply and resourcefully, and their wisdom can transform your kitchen too. These 30 tips will change the way you cook, preserve, and use ingredients, making you wish you knew them sooner. 1. When it comes to unlocking the best flavors from herbs and spices, the Amish rely on a timeless kitchen tool, the mortar and pestle. But here's a secret most people don't know. You need to cure it first. Simply grind some white rice and coarse sea salt together in the bowl until the grounds run clear. Repeat with fresh ingredients and even add a splash of water to help things along. Once cured, your mortar and pestle are ready to work their magic. Hold the pestle in your dominant hand and use circular motions to press down steadily on your herbs. This age-old method releases essential oils that electric grinders can't match, resulting in fresher, more vibrant flavors. Sometimes the simplest tools truly are the best. 2. Ever wonder if those eggs in your fridge are still good to eat? The Amish have a foolproof water test that takes less than a minute. Fill a bowl with cold water and gently place your eggs inside. Think of it as giving them a tiny swimming lesson. Fresh eggs will sink straight to the bottom and lay flat on their sides. If an egg starts floating or standing upright like it's ready for synchronized swimming, it's time to toss it out. This simple yet effective method has been a reliable guide for generations. Why does it work? As eggs age, they develop an air pocket that gets larger over time, making them more buoyant. No fancy equipment needed, just some water and a keen eye to keep your breakfast fresh and delicious. 3. Looking to keep those fresh herbs from wilting in record time? The Amish have a brilliantly simple trick. Treat your herbs like a bouquet. Start by trimming the stems just like you would with flowers, then place them in a glass filled with clean water. Create your own mini greenhouse by loosely covering the herbs with a plastic bag. This setup helps maintain the perfect humidity level, keeping your herbs fresh for days longer. Parsley, cilantro, and basil particularly love this spa treatment. Just remember to change the water every few days and remove any wilted stems. This Amish method not only prevents waste but ensures you'll always have fresh herbs for your next culinary creation. Plus, they make a lovely green centerpiece for your kitchen. 4. Nothing disappears faster than a fresh batch of cookies, except maybe their freshness when stored incorrectly. Drawing from generations of baking wisdom, the Amish discovered that tissue paper is the secret to keeping cookies perfectly crisp. Line the bottom of an airtight container with a sheet of tissue paper, then arrange your cookies in a single layer, ensuring they aren't crowded. Add another sheet of tissue paper and continue layering until all your cookies are tucked away. The tissue paper acts like a tiny moisture-wicking superhero, absorbing excess humidity that would otherwise turn your cookies soft and stale. This humble hack has helped Amish families maintain that fresh-baked texture for days, assuming they can resist eating them all at once. Ever have one of those mornings where your coffee turns out more bitter than your ex? The Amish have a remedy for that, and it doesn't involve dumping out your precious brew. Their solution works for both hand-brewed and machine-made coffee. Simply add a tiny pinch of salt to your coffee pot or cup. It might sound strange, but the science behind it is solid. The salt neutralizes those bitter compounds, making your coffee taste fresh and delicious. Just remember to stir well and use a light touch. You want better coffee, not ocean water. This method has rescued countless pots of overbrewed coffee, and let's be honest, anything that saves a pot of coffee from the drain is worth trying. 6. Dealing with tough cuts of meat? The Amish have a simple yet effective solution. Marinate the meat in vinegar. The acidity of the vinegar breaks down the tough fibers, resulting in tender, flavorful meat. Just be sure to marinate for the right amount of time. Over-marinating can make the meat mushy. Whether you're preparing a hearty stew or a savory roast, this tip will make even the toughest cuts melt in your mouth. Enjoy the flavors of tradition with this timeless technique. The Amish community has perfected many methods for transforming tough cuts of meat into tender, mouth-watering dishes. Their secret? A simple yet effective marinade of equal parts vinegar and broth. Whether it's a stubborn brisket, an ornery chuck roast, or a challenging pork shoulder, this magical mixture works wonders. The vinegar acts as an army of tiny tenderizers, breaking down tough meat fibers, while the broth adds both moisture and flavor. Pour your marinade into a bowl or resealable bag, ensuring your meat is happily soaking in the mixture. like it's at a spa day. Let it rest in your refrigerator or a root cellar if you're feeling traditional for at least a few hours, but overnight is even better. Think of it as beauty sleep for your beef. You'll be amazed at how that tough cut transforms into something wonderfully tender and flavorful. 7. Ever wondered why chopping onions turns your kitchen into a crying session? Even the hardiest Amish farmers admit to shedding tears over their onions. But they've developed a clever technique to significantly reduce the waterworks. Start by chopping off the root end and peeling away the papery skin. Here's where the magic happens. Instead of cutting the onion any which way, slice it lengthwise from root to stem. This method, passed down through generations of Amish cooks, keeps the onion's root system more intact, meaning fewer tear-inducing compounds are released. For an extra tear-fighting boost, try chilling your onion first. While modern cooks use the refrigerator, traditional Amish households pop them in their root cellars before cutting. Just remember to keep the root end intact as much as possible while you're slicing. While this technique won't completely eliminate the tears, after all, even onions need a good cry sometimes, it'll definitely make the experience more pleasant. 8. Nothing ruins a perfectly boiled egg like struggling with stubborn shells that refuse to peel cleanly. But there's a brilliantly simple solution that Amish cooks have been using for generations, and it all comes down to salt and cold water. Start by waiting until your water is rapidly boiling before adding your eggs. This is crucial for preventing cracks. Once they're cooked to perfection, transfer them to a bowl of cold water and add a generous teaspoon of salt. This crafty combination, a staple in Amish kitchens, works its magic by causing the egg whites to contract ever so slightly, creating a tiny gap between the egg and its shell. Let them sit for a few minutes while the salt does its work, then comes the satisfying part. Gently tap each egg on a hard surface and watch as the shells practically slip off on their own. This humble trick has saved countless breakfasts, ensuring your eggs are perfectly peeled and ready to enjoy. The Amish community's wisdom extends far beyond their humble kitchens. Here are some more gems that will elevate your cooking game. 9. To prevent your breakfast from becoming frustrating. Shell peeling marathons, the Amish recommend a salt trick. Simply add salt to your boiling water to help prevent cracking. After boiling, transfer your eggs to a bowl of cold water with a teaspoon of salt. This crafty combination causes the egg whites to contract slightly, creating a tiny gap between the egg and its shell. After a few minutes, gently tap each egg, and the shells will practically slip off on their own. This simple trick ensures your eggs are perfectly peeled and ready to enjoy. 10. Listen closely to seasoned Amish cooks preparing their soups and stews, and you'll notice the gentle sound of simmering rather than the aggressive bubble of a rolling boil. Boiling might seem faster, but it does a disservice to your ingredients, turning tender meat tough and vegetables into mush. Follow the Amish way, keep the heat low, and let flavors develop naturally. Use a ladle to skim off any foam or impurities that rise to the surface. This gentle approach keeps your ingredients tender, your broth clear, and retains more nutrients. Patience is a virtue, and you'll be rewarded with a rich, flavorful base that would make any Amish grandmother proud. 11. Battling with overly acidic tomato dishes? The Amish have a simple fix, just a pinch of sugar. Next time your spaghetti sauce tastes too sharp or your chili needs balancing, sprinkle a small amount of sugar. Notice how it instantly smooths out harsh edges. For an even richer flavor profile, many Amish home cooks add a small pat of butter along with the sugar. The key is starting small and tasting as you go. Aim for harmony, not sweetness. This practical trick works wonders on everything from rustic tomato soups to hearty pasta sauces. 12. Want to know what gives many traditional Amish dishes their irresistible savory depth? It's saved bacon grease, one of their most prized kitchen resources. Instead of tossing this liquid gold, let it cool and pour it into a clean jar. Use it for everything from perfectly crispy fried eggs to golden brown potatoes. Want to elevate your cornbread? Skip the butter and grease the skillet with bacon fat. A little goes a long way, adding smokiness and rich savory notes to anything it touches. This practical bit of Amish kitchen wisdom is both frugal and fantastically flavorful. 13. The only product we'll ever promote on our channel is a book by Claude Davis, a veteran prepper, about 126 superfoods and preservation methods from crisis times, like the Great Depression and wartime. And we're the last generation that can share it with our children and grandchildren. You can also find a book about herbal remedies from Nicole Appelian in their store. Look up our channel, Frugal Solutions, on your phone or tablet to find the books by clicking the link in our channel description or any video description. 14. Looking for a way to keep your salad greens crisp and fresh longer? The Amish have mastered the art of making fresh produce last. Their secret to keeping leafy greens perky isn't some fancy gadget. It's a simple, damp paper towel. After washing and thoroughly drying your salad greens, place them in an airtight container and lay a slightly damp paper towel over the top like a lightweight blanket. This creates the perfect environment, adding just enough humidity to keep the greens crisp without getting soggy. Remember to change the paper towel every few days to keep things fresh. 15. Ever wondered why breakfast at an Amish farmhouse feels like a 5-star experience? Their secret to creating the fluffiest, most luxurious scrambled eggs isn't fancy equipment or expensive ingredients. It's a dollop of mayonnaise whisked in before cooking. Before you wrinkle your nose, hear this out. Adding just a spoonful of mayo to your beaten eggs creates a texture so creamy and velvety, you'll think you're eating clouds for breakfast. The fat in the mayonnaise works double duty. It prevents the eggs from drying out while adding an extra layer of richness that butter alone just can't match. This clever trick has brightened mornings in Amish households long before trendy brunch spots started charging $20 for eggs. The best part? It's practically foolproof. Just whisk your eggs as usual, add a spoonful of mayo, and cook them up the way you like. You'll end up with scrambled eggs so fluffy and creamy, they'll make your regular breakfast seem like amateur hour. 16. Think flour is the only way to keep your baked goods from sticking? Here's a sweet twist that Amish bakers have been quietly using to add an extra special touch to their treats. Sugar. Instead of dusting your pans with flour, try sugar. This clever technique doesn't just prevent sticking, it creates something magical. As your cake or cookies bake, the sugar coating transforms into a deliciously crispy, caramelized crust that'll make everyone wonder about your secret ingredient. This trick has earned Amish bakers their reputation for creating irresistible treats. The process is simple. Just grease your pan as usual, then dust it with sugar instead of flour, tapping out the excess. It works particularly well with cakes, sweetbreads, and cookies where you want that extra bit of crunch around the edges. Unlike flour, which can leave a chalky residue, sugar melts into a gorgeous golden crust that adds both texture and flavor. Talk about having your cake and eating it too. 17. Want to know why dishes from Amish kitchens often have that extra depth of flavor? While their herb gardens might be impressive, it's actually their method of handling spices that makes the real difference. The secret is giving those spices a quick toast before adding them to your dish. Whether you're working with whole or ground spices, try this simple technique that's been perfected in Amish cooking. Heat up a dry pan, no oil needed, and add your spices for just a minute or two. As they warm up, you'll notice something magical happening. The kitchen fills with an incredible aroma as the heat releases essential oils locked within the spices. Keep them moving constantly. They can go from perfectly toasted to burnt in the blink of an eye. This quick step might seem small, but it makes a world of difference in your final dish. Those warming flavors of cinnamon, nutmeg, or cumin become deeper and more complex, transforming everyday recipes into something truly special. Just remember, you're going for a gentle toast, not a sunburn. 18. Here's a modern twist that even some adventurous Amish cooks have started experimenting with: adding an ice cube to each burger patty before grilling. While this might not be a traditional technique from the horse and buggy days, it's gaining fans in cooking communities who appreciate practical solutions. Next time you're shaping burger patties, try this clever hack. Press a small ice cube right into the center of each patty. As the burger cooks, the ice slowly melts, releasing moisture throughout the meat and keeping it wonderfully juicy. It's like having a tiny sprinkler system inside your burger. You might think that ice would make a mess on your grill, but by the time the burger's done, that cube will have worked its magic and disappeared completely. The result? Burgers that stay moist and juicy instead of turning into those dreaded hockey pucks we've all had at backyard barbecues. This simple addition helps ensure your homemade burgers can compete with any restaurant version. Just don't tell them your secret weapon was frozen water. 19. Tired of bland potato salad that tastes like it's missing something? Take a page from creative cooks who've discovered that the secret ingredient might already be sitting in your fridge: pickle juice. This tangy trick transforms ordinary potato salad into something guests will beg for the recipe. Instead of letting that briny goodness go down the drain when the pickles are gone, save it for your next batch of potato salad. Just splash a bit into your mixture, tasting as you go. The pickle juice adds a zingy brightness that wakes up all the other flavors, while its salty tang perfectly balances the creamy mayonnaise base. In Amish communities, where making the most of every ingredient is second nature, this resourceful hack has become a beloved addition to summer picnics. 20. These simple, effective solutions remind us why Amish kitchen wisdom remains relevant today. Whether you're dealing with delicate lettuce leaves or hearty herbs, the Amish have you covered. Their practical methods ensure your produce stays fresh, your dishes are flavorful, and your kitchen runs smoothly. 21. Pickle juice doesn't just add flavor, it helps cut through the richness of mayonnaise, creating a more balanced dish. Start with a small splash, then add more if needed. Just be careful not to add too much, or you might find your potato salad doing the pickle dance. 22 raw onions can pack quite a punch, but there's a brilliant trick beloved in Amish kitchens that takes the bite out while keeping all the flavor: a cold water soak. After slicing your onions, pop them into a bowl of cold water and let them soak. This age-old technique draws out the sharp sulfur compounds, making the onions mellower and more pleasant to eat. Perfect for salads, sandwiches, or fresh salsa. Your onions will keep their satisfying crunch while losing that overwhelming sharpness, making them more balanced in flavor. 23. Achieving the perfect flaky pie crust can feel like chasing unicorns, but there's a surprising trick even some Amish bakers have embraced: adding vodka to your dough. Replace part of the water in your recipe with vodka, and magic happens. Unlike water, vodka doesn't activate the gluten in flour, so your crust stays tender instead of turning tough and chewy. The alcohol evaporates during baking, leaving behind nothing but perfectly flaky, tender layers. When someone asks why your pie crust is so incredibly flaky, just smile mysteriously and say, "It's an old family secret." 24. Want to transform ordinary mashed potatoes into a cloud-like creation that'll have everyone begging for seconds? The secret isn't more butter or cream, it's the humble egg yolk. While your potatoes are still steaming hot, drop in a fresh egg yolk and watch the magic happen. The heat from the potatoes gently cooks the yolk, creating a velvety texture that butter alone can't match. In Amish country, this trick has earned its place in countless family cookbooks. The yolk adds richness and a smooth, silky texture that makes every bite feel like pure comfort food heaven. Just make sure your potatoes are still hot when you add the yolk so it cooks through completely. 25. Having trouble digesting beans? That uncomfortable after-dinner bloat might just become a thing of the past with this clever solution. Add a splash of apple cider vinegar to your cooking pot. In traditional Amish cooking, where beans are often a hearty staple, they've long known that a tablespoon or two of apple cider vinegar works wonders. Add it directly to your cooking liquid, and it will break down those troublesome compounds while simultaneously deepening the beans' natural flavors. This practical wisdom has been passed down through generations of Amish cooks. The acidity of apple cider vinegar doesn't just help with digestion, it also transforms your beans into something remarkably delicious. The subtle tang adds complexity without overwhelming the natural bean flavor, creating a balanced dish. Whether you're cooking up a pot of navy beans or preparing your favorite chili recipe, this simple addition proves that sometimes the most effective solutions are also the most straightforward. 26. Ever wonder why some pancakes turn out perfectly golden with crispy edges while others fall flat? The secret might be sitting in your grandmother's old cookware collection. Cast iron skillets. A cornerstone in Amish kitchens, these skillets are the unsung heroes of perfect pancake making. Start by heating your cast iron until it's evenly warm. These heavy-duty pans maintain consistent temperature better than any modern non-stick skillet. Add just a small swipe of butter or oil, though many seasoned Amish cooks might tell you their well-maintained cast iron barely needs any. Watch as your pancakes develop that coveted golden brown crust while staying fluffy inside. The even heat distribution creates the perfect balance between a crispy exterior and tender. There's something special about the subtle rustic flavor that only cast iron can impart. In Amish communities where these sturdy skillets are passed down through generations, a well-seasoned cast iron pan is worth its weight in gold. Just remember to keep your heat steady and your pan well-maintained. Your breakfast will thank you. 27. Want to savor summer's bounty all year round? Home canning isn't just a hobby, it's an essential preservation method that Amish families have mastered over generations. The process starts with spotlessly clean jars and the freshest produce you can find. Pack your fruits or vegetables into sterilized jars, being careful to leave the right amount of headspace at the top. A detail-seasoned Amish canners know can make or break your preservation efforts. Whether you're using a water bath for high-acid foods like tomatoes and peaches, or a pressure canner for low-acid vegetables like green beans, the key is following precise processing times. This careful attention to detail has kept Amish families well-fed through countless winters. When done properly, your home-canned goods can last for a year or more, each jar capturing the peak flavor of fresh-picked produce. It's no wonder this traditional preservation method remains a cornerstone of Amish kitchens. Plus, there's nothing quite like opening a jar of summer peaches on a cold January morning. 28. Before refrigeration revolutionized food storage, people had to get creative with meat preservation, and nobody mastered this art quite like the Amish. Their time-tested method of using salt to keep meat fresh has proven its worth through countless seasons. The process is beautifully simple. Coat your meat generously with salt, whether it's beef, pork, or poultry. Traditional Amish households would then store their salted treasures in wooden boxes or hang them in cool, dry cellars. The salt works its magic by drawing out moisture, creating an environment where bacteria simply can't thrive. This preservation method isn't just about survival. It's about developing complex flavors that modern conveniences can't replicate. In Amish communities, where this technique has been perfected over generations, it's particularly useful for creating delicious smoked meats and homemade jerky. The salt doesn't just preserve, it transforms the meat's texture and deepens its flavor. While most of us have the luxury of refrigeration today, this ancient method still produces some of the most flavorful, preserved meats. 29. Use honey to preserve fruit. Nature's sweetener isn't just for your morning tea. Honey is one of the most effective natural preservatives around. When summer fruit is abundant and bursting with ripeness, this ancient preservation method, still cherished in Amish communities, comes in particularly handy. The technique couldn't be simpler. Coat your fresh fruit. Peaches and pears work especially well, with a layer of honey, and seal them in clean jars. The magic lies in honey's unique properties, which create an environment where bacteria simply can't survive. This natural preservation method has been a staple in Amish pantries long before modern canning techniques came along. Not only does the honey keep the fruit fresh without refrigeration, but it also creates delicious syrup as the fruit's natural juices blend with the honey over time. The result is perfectly preserved fruit that maintains its flavor and texture, ready to brighten up your table whenever you need a taste of summer sweetness. Ripened tomatoes with brown paper bags. Got a batch of stubbornly green tomatoes that just won't ripen? Try this simple paper bag trick that's been keeping Amish gardeners happy for years. All you need is a brown paper bag and a little patience. Place your tomatoes in a single layer inside the bag. Think of it as tucking them into their own little ripening dormitory. Fold over the top to create their cozy environment. The magic happens because the paper bag traps ethylene gas, the natural ripening hormone that tomatoes release while still allowing them to breathe. This tried and true method helps Amish families extend their tomato harvests well beyond the growing season. Check your tomatoes daily and remove any that show signs of ripening or spoiling. Within a few days, you'll have ripe, flavorful tomatoes ready for your table. It's a practical solution that respects and understands nature's rhythms. Keep dough from sticking with flour and oil. Wrestling with sticky dough can turn any baking session into a frustrating mess, but there's a clever combination that's been keeping pie crusts, bread doughs, and pizza bases manageable in Amish kitchens for countless years. The dynamic duo of flour and oil. Start by dusting your work surface with a light coating of flour as usual. Then, instead of fighting with dough stuck to your hands, lightly oil your palms before kneading. This simple technique creates the perfect balance, letting you work the dough without it clinging to everything it touches. In busy Amish households where bread making is often a daily task, this practical approach saves both time and patience. The flour provides the necessary barrier against sticking, while the oil adds just enough slip to keep things moving smoothly. Think of it as giving your dough a perfect environment to be shaped and stretched without the usual headaches. Save onion skins for broth. Think twice before tossing those papery onion skins into the compost. Those humble peels could be the secret to creating rich, flavorful broths that would make any soup proud. Instead of discarding them, start collecting onion skins along with other vegetable scraps in a clean jar. When it's time to make broth, you'll discover what Amish cooks have known all along. These often discarded bits pack a surprising punch of flavor and color. Simply simmer your collected scraps in water for several hours and watch as the liquid transforms into a golden-hued base perfect for soups, stews, and gravies. In Amish households, where resourcefulness is a way of life, this practice isn't just about avoiding waste, it's about maximizing the potential of every ingredient. The onion skins contribute a depth of flavor and rich color that you can't get from the flesh alone. Plus, there's something satisfying about turning what most people throw away into liquid gold for your next culinary creation. Soak rice in water before cooking. Ever wonder why your rice doesn't turn out as fluffy and perfect as you'd like? The solution is surprisingly simple. Give those grains a relaxing bath before they hit the pot. This pre-cooking ritual, a standard practice in Amish kitchens, can transform your rice from good to exceptional. Start by soaking your rice in clean water for 30 minutes to an hour before cooking. This extra step might seem unnecessary in our rush world, but the results speak for themselves. In Amish households, where patience in cooking is valued as much as the ingredients, this practice helps ensure each grain cooks evenly and reaches its full potential. The soaking process begins breaking down the rice's tough exterior, reducing cooking time and helping remove excess starch that can make your rice sticky or clumpy. Think of it as giving your rice a spa treatment. It emerges more relaxed and ready to become its best self. Honey and apple cider vinegar for a cough. Looking for a natural remedy to soothe that persistent cough? Before reaching for over-the-counter medicines, try this time-tested combination that's been bringing relief in Amish communities for generations. The powerful duo of honey and apple cider vinegar. Mix 1 tablespoon each of honey and apple cider vinegar into a glass of warm water, and you got yourself a simple yet effective remedy. While modern medicine has its place, this traditional Amish approach harnesses nature's own healing properties. The honey works as a natural antibacterial agent while coating and soothing your irritated throat. Meanwhile, the apple cider vinegar gets to work balancing your body's pH levels and helping to thin out troublesome mucus. Sip this concoction slowly throughout the day, letting it work its gentle magic. In Amish households, where natural remedies are preferred whenever possible, this solution has stood the test of time. Not only does it help calm your cough, but it also provides a comforting warmth that just makes you feel better. Sometimes the simplest remedies really are the most effective. Stay tuned for more